This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Here's Grant Hall with us on halftime for your usual Wednesday hit. Appreciate your time, Grant, as always. How you doing today? What's new?
I'm doing well. I made a 70-foot birdie putt yesterday at Paradise Valley. Matt can appreciate that. Matt, you're a pretty good golfer, aren't you?
I'm about a 12 right now. Yeah, I'm not that good. I was a little better. The best I've ever been is a 7.
You know, Matt, I was just thinking about the 2003 Texas game and the one you guys won 38-28 in Austin, and being in the press box that day. And these writers, all these writers we've known for years from Texas came around. Who is this guy? Is he this good? You know, and Frank Broyles told he traveled, I think, with the Lindsays that day, and he made the comment before the game that a win over Texas would be worth all these, I don't know, millions of dollars or something, you know, to the program. But Frank was so nervous by that point of his life during games that he just went out walking, and somehow he got himself to the airport. You know, in Austin, I think he walked most of the way, maybe got a ride, and then was happy as he could be that you had pulled this thing off. How'd you do that
Man,
day?
I had a lot of help. Cedric Cobbs he's still running over them, and so it's funny you mentioned Frank, but so Frank, Jerry Jones, Jim Lindsay, it might have been Steven too, but they all talked to us before the game. So we were kind of looking around like this must be a serious game, man. Arkansas, Texas, they got all the big guns in here, but man, that was. George Will, everybody, man, that was a real game.
Yeah, and you almost beat him the next year, too.
Yeah, if I could hold on to the ball a little bit, we'd have been all right.
Now, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Grant, am I supposed to believe that Frank Broyles walked most of the distance to the Austin airport?
He got himself there some way. You know, he walked a lot. I mean, he like during the Masters, he would walk the entire golf course, and when he was 75 years old, he was still doing that.
I'm not saying he couldn't do it. Like, what? There's a major difference between walking campus or walking a golf course and walking city streets that have to get you to an airport, for crying out loud. I mean, that's
well, he might have caught a cab ride somewhere along the way, but. Yeah, there was one game. I know he stopped by Coach Harold Horton's house to get a drink of water during the game, but I think mostly to find out what the score was. He would get so nervous he couldn't listen to it or watch it.
I got to talk to Coach Broyles my freshman year in the weight room, and he came up and he was with somebody else and introduced me, and he's like, "This is one of our, you know, he's a freshman last year, Matt Jones, quarterback, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Frank Broyles knows my name," you know, like it was all good.
I bet he knew your name. I bet he knew. Maybe he didn't know everybody's name, but he definitely knew yours. I mean,
he's OG.
I mean, in the time that I've done Arkansas games, I only was able to come across him once, and that was flying out with the women's basketball team one time, and he had just landed. But he always looked. I know he always was, you know, dressed almost to had that red coat on and a big smile, had something to say to every player, and. I guess, I mean, it sounds like he was kind of that way with just about everybody, but there was that gravitas that he had too, and you just kind of noticed that when you saw him, right?
Well, he would have loved to coach you, Matt, because he was a connoisseur of quarterbacks. He always, you know, Barbara used to say he always was worried about who the quarterback was going to be the next year, and he loved running quarterbacks, you know, and who could pass, by the way.
He'd like KJ right now too, wouldn't he?
That's right. That's exactly right. But, you know, I had a high school coach tell me one time, Matt, that he thought you could have been an NBA player had you, you know, played only basketball. So there was one person in your corner on that. I don't know how much money you would have made compared to.
Basketball was awesome, and it got to play with Ronnie Brewer, who was up there. And yeah, man, AAU basketball, high school basketball, man, that was it. And I got to play for a little bit under Nolan, but, I could have probably went overseas. You know, I don't know if I would have been. I wasn't long enough. You know, I needed to be about 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan nowadays, the way they are in there.
Remember the day Nolan, y'all were over there in practice, and he said, "Hey, Matt, you don't get 25 seconds off between plays in football."
No, boy. So, Nolan, we were playing Mississippi State, right? And so we're out there, me and Mike Jones, we're two freshman guys, and we were playing horse before the game, and we're shooting and stuff. And so we're like, it's shoot around, not before the game. It's shoot around before you come back before the game. And so just being young and dumb, and we're like, let's shoot left-handed. And so we're shooting corner threes left-handed. We shoot 2 in a row, and he looks at me and goes, "Jones, and just points at me, and I said, "Uh-oh," and it's like it comes over here. He says, "Son, you can't even shoot good right-handed. What are you doing?" And I didn't even play me the rest of the game. Yeah, it's whatever.
Last time you ever practiced left-handed.
Never shot a left-handed shot in front of Coach Richardson again.
And then you learn that like Larry Bird played an entire game left-handed in the NBA and scored like 50 points.
Yeah, he did.
Just to show he could do it.
And told the other team he was going to do it, right? Arkansas, I saw they were ranked 7th in Sports Illustrated in the preseason thing, and it said, I guess the comment was Nick Smith may be the best NBA prospect in college basketball.
Yes.
And
I second that.
You guys have probably talked about it, I'm sure, but 10th in AP, does that seem low or high to you?
But we did just talk about the way they go about these projections and new players in, old players out. I think back-to-back Elite Eights, I don't see why they would be any lower than 10.
Yeah, it's weird, Phil, having 2 players back from a roster and still being 10th in the country in AP. I mean, that's a tribute to what the program's doing right now.
Well, it's the highest ranking that I've seen at Arkansas in a long time for preseason, and
since '95, I think.
Yeah, well, you expect on a year-by-year basis that there's going to be a number of Division I transfers that were successful at their previous stops that end up coming to Arkansas. You've got a string of these now, and third year in a row. The difference here is, and I guess it's maybe a little different than the first year where you knew Moses would probably maybe be a one and done, and they had a really good freshman class along with Devo and along with Jalen Williams. But here is this class, this freshman class, in which Anthony Black and Nick Smith are expected maybe to go as lottery picks after this year. And it doesn't even say anything about Jordan Walsh, who's really talented, and Darian Ford and Joseph Pinion. So there's just a different sort of talent, I think, on this team than any of the previous years, and it's all high-end talent.
Yeah, it's definitely a different dynamic from let's face it, the teams the last 2 years, I'm not sure a lot of those guys were household names in the world of college basketball, and they put it together and, as you said, made 2 Elite Eights, and now it's going to be a whole different thing. And I saw where Eric said the other day he wished he had 5 more months to coach these guys. And that may sound crazy for a team that's ranked 10th in preseason, but I think he knows how good they can be and what a brief time he may have them, and so he wants to maximize this thing.
Who do you think out of Ricky Council and Devontae Davis will be back in that backcourt with Nick Smith?
I think Devontae is going to play a lot. I think just the being a third-year guy, he's been to these 2 Elite Eights, and I know he missed the red-white game the other day, but, Matt, they all impressed me. I mean, I'll tell you what impresses me about this. We got to see them practice a couple of times. It's just how serious a lot of them are. I mean, they're not maybe your typical freshmen or first-year players at a school. It looks to me like they're locked in pretty good.
They're going to be a good defensive team. Must remark, I found it very interesting about the contrast around the perimeter and the three-point line. And you got all this size at guard and, a guy like Brazil that can get out there and guard around the perimeter too. They're going to guard the 3 well. But even Muss said, I think outside of Nick Smith, he said, I think right now we just are what we are as far as three-point shooting. He doesn't expect them to be even a good three-point shooting team. I mean, he didn't even talk about the ability to improve as a three-point shooting team. He just said, we're not going to be a good three-point shooting team, but I think they'll defend the heck out of it and turn that into some quick, fast break points.
Yeah, and, who knows? Maybe they can turn that to advantage.
I think so, especially being able to get out on the break. This team's going to be very athletic, and Ricky Council, Devontae Davis, Darian Ford, and Phil, you just brought up Jordan Walsh. I mean, he's just an athlete out there. So I could definitely see them getting that Kentucky, that Cincinnati type defense that they had when Bob Huggins was there, getting up on you, defending the perimeter, and getting out and just running on you for sure.
Yeah, good luck getting.
Yeah, and that probably has a lot to do with the ranking that they have, and I think reputation. I mean, let's face it, Arkansas wasn't getting ranked for a long time because they weren't coming off great seasons, and I think they're in people's minds to be listed before the season like this.
Grant, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about about the baseball playoffs. You're going to have a team out of the National League that didn't win 90 games. Neither of these teams, the Phils or the Padres, won 90. Regular season success just doesn't mean as much. It was supposed to because, you win a division, you get a top 2 seed, you get a bye into the next round. Apparently it didn't really mean very much because only in the American League, those were the only teams that advanced. In the National League, those teams were gone and gone quickly. Do you think that anything needs to change from this? Because regular season, that's 162 games, and success in that time frame's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, it does get your attention when the Dodgers win by 22 games over the Padres. I think they beat them 14 out of 19 during the year, and then the Padres beat them in a short season. But that's the way it's set up. And after the Cardinals lost to the Phillies, I predicted that Philadelphia and New York would be the 2 World Series teams. And the reason I say the Phillies is I think that Harper can really carry them, and they've obviously got other good players, but it almost reminds me, what he's doing right now reminds me of Carly Yastrzemski in 1967 when he just put the Red Sox on his back. I remember he went 4 for 4 the last day of the season, and that. But there's something to be said for a hot team, and that's how I see it anyway. Phil, do you agree or disagree on Phillies Yankees?
That's what it comes down to. They basically turned the Major League playoffs into the NCAA tournament. Get hot and you can win, and we saw that from Ole Miss. It doesn't matter as long as you make the tournament, you got a shot. That's, I think, the nature of the sport. Which team is disliked more, Yankees or Astros?
Oh, I think probably still Yankees around the country, wouldn't you think?
Astros. Cheaters. Really? Cheaters, man. You can't. Well, I thought we were out here playing the game, man. Don't be cheating like that.
Yeah. People still bring that up.
I don't dig it.
I like
who
Dusty.
Matt's rooting for. He's all pinstripes this week.
No, I'm a Terry Francona fan too. Like there's certain players I like. I kind of had the Dodgers. I like the Padres this year based because their uniforms are dope.
Those are good looking beauties. You're right.
Hey, Matt, I want to ask you just quickly. I don't know how much time we got, Phil, but a guy who reminds me of you in golf is Fred Couples because he's laid back and he just has all this supreme talent. And last week the guy
you see him shoot a 60? Yeah,
at age 63. And I heard the caddy for the week was Griffin Flesh, whose father Steve plays on the Tour Champions, and he was going to meet him Tuesday. And Fred called him and said, I won't be in until Wednesday night. I'm going to the Dodgers game Tuesday night, and he shows up, plays a few holes. And,
he knows what's up.
Well, Griffin Flesh said he read 2 putts all week for him, and he missed both of them, so that was it. And he only wants 1 yardage. He doesn't all care about this with back of the green, front of the green, all this stuff. Just give me the yardage to the pin.
I love it.
Because that's usually where Fred hits it, and I think he missed putts of 6 and 8 feet on the first 2 holes. And then birdie 12 out of 14 or something. There's no telling how much that guy could have won if he sort of just knew how good he was.
He had some back troubles, didn't he, there for a little bit? He was really
does.
Yeah. Oh, naturally gifted, man. And just a guy that you would love to go play a golf round with, right? Like just go be in his foursome. Yeah.
He's a magnet. Like at Augusta every year at age 62, people still just gravitate to him. They love to be around Freddie,
Well, I think there's one thing that Matt's got on him that Couples won't ever had, because I think Fred Couples never met a facial hair he didn't want to shave off the moment he saw it.
Dude, those golf shoes he had, I went out and bought them because Freddie Couples had them when he
those Echoes.
Yeah, when in the Masters when he did. I was still I went out and bought the shoes just because Freddie Couples looked so smooth.
Wear those things to church, man.
Right?
Wow. He's selling shoes to the cool kids now. I didn't realize that.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your #1 source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.